morning, everyone. Welcome to the October 8th business meeting of the Arkansas State Highway Commission. I'm Philip Taldo, Chairman of the Commission. Thank you for being here today in person and on our live stream. Before we get started, please stand for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I have some general reminders for everyone who may be speaking or presenting at today's meeting. When I can find them. We want to make sure everyone is heard as clearly as possible, so please ensure your microphone is turned on when you speak and speak directly into the microphone to ensure your audio is picked up well. This brings us to our first order of business, which is approving the minutes from the August 20th Commission meeting. I take it that everybody received those prior to this meeting and you've had time to look at it. Do we have any additions or corrections, or do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now we move to the minute orders for this meeting. As a reminder, all minute orders will be held for signing until after the meeting concludes. If you have any questions or comments about the minute orders as they are being read, please let me know. For the reading of the minute orders, I will call upon Dave Parker, who is head of our communications division. Dave?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Beginning with minute order 1, this simply asks for approval of the actions taken by our purchasing committee since the last commission meeting. Minute order 2 gives authorization to proceed with the award of the transportation-related research and workforce development grant program projects as recommended. Minute order 3, authorization to proceed with the award of the TAP, the Transportation Alternatives Program, and RTP, which is the Recreational Trails Program, as recommended. Minute order 4, this minute order is asking for approval to participate in the Federal Highway Administration's National Partnership to improve the quality of pavement preservation, treatment, construction, and data collection practices. Minute order 5, this is asking for approval to take part in the Federal Highway Administration's Improving the Quality of Highway Profile Measurement Pooled Fund Study. Minute order 6, this is out of District 10 in Clay County. This is asking for approval to identify and acquire the most appropriate location and to construct a new Clay County area headquarters as funds become available. Their previous facility was heavily damaged by a fire in May of this year. Minute order 7, some land-related minute orders. First, minute order 7 from Sebastian County, simply releasing 2 tracts of land to the county. And then minute order 8 comes from District 8, Prairie County, calls for declaring the Des Arc Suspension Bridge, job number 006813, as surplus property. Minute order 9, Crittenden County calls for the authorization to commit up to $2 million of economic development funds to connect the South Loop Drive extension to a new economic development known as Project Acorn. This is in the city of West Memphis. Minute Order 10 in Randolph County, authorization to transfer the bridge M2165, known as the Foose River Bridge on Highway 166, to the city of Pocahontas. Minute Order 11 takes us to Pulaski County, District 6. This is an improvement project. Minute Order asks for the approval to partner with the city of Little Rock to construct a separate multi-use trail along Highway 5 from Baseline Road to Otter Creek Road as funds become available. Our final minute order, Jefferson County calls for the approval to name the Highway 88 bridge over the Little Bayou Meta in Raydell as the AGFC Commissioner Joe A. Morgan Memorial Bridge. That is it, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to ask Marie maybe to say something about the Memorial Bridge for Joe Morgan, our friend, and
Absolutely. So that one's in my district, and I got to be friends with Joe in the last few years of his life, and I think it's great that Game and Fish came to us with this request. Joe, for many of you who knew him, was a storyteller and a great promoter. And he promoted his car sales, and most of all, he promoted the state of Arkansas and hunting and fishing, and his family. And his son, he loved to talk about Arkansas. He loved to talk about hunting and fishing, his faith, and his son Brett. And those were his main things that he talked about if you ever talked to Joe for any length of time at all. And Brett is going to be a part of that sign unveiling, and glad we can do this for the Game and Fish Commission.
right. Thank you for bringing us up to date.
Yep. Thank you for doing this.
Are there any questions on the minute orders? If not, we'll move on to the next order of business. For that, I'll ask Patrick Patton, our Chief Financial Officer, to come to the podium and present our state highway financial report. Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. So this is our first report for state fiscal year 2026. So we'll be going over numbers through August. On this first slide is our budget versus expenses, actual expenses by budget category. If you see the director's budget, admin budget, pre-construction are all pretty much in line with what we expected to see. Operations, they're under budget by 1.6 million or 8.8%. Some timing of some construction things. Capital outlay, we've got we're down 2.9 million or 46% below budget. We've spent so far 3.3 million. Our budget is 6.2. That budget total is 37.3 million. So we've got some timing of expenses there. We spread the budget evenly. Just to give you a little bit of knowledge, the top three in that category is road machinery and equipment. Coming in second is the ITS, or the Intelligent Transport Systems, and then third's the computers. Next category is our special allotments. That's under $1 million. And then overall, we're 5.6 million or 16.1 million below budget. So doing good as we start the first 2 months of the year.
Excuse me, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned those three different categories were the biggest part. That outlay for the electronic registering of transportation.
The intelligent transportation systems, those are our signs, the signage, the intelligent signs on the highways.
I'll try to make it more complicated than it is. Okay, thank you. I did.
So So Patrick, we'll catch up operations with the salt and with the winter comes, and then the capital outlay will just catch that up in terms of projects as we go through the year because of
Yes, ma'am.
timing, right?
Yeah, some of the timing of the supply chain for the road machinery and equipment has improved, but we've still got some contracts that take 12, 18 months, and so those will be coming in, and we'll be, in constant contact with Danny just to see how we're doing and what we need to do going forward. But yes, it's partly the seasonal and then the supply chain. So now we're looking at the actual revenue, the 5-year trends. Right now for motor fuel, we're at $63.8 million. We're at the 2025 levels, so we're tracking like last year. A piece of that is the Act 416 motor fuel that we collect. It's $10.8 million. Registration fees is $19.5 million. We're at 2025 levels, so we're staying good. We're not moving backwards. That's at $19.5 million, and part of that is Act 416 registration fees for the electric hybrids. And so far, this is since Act 416 went into effect, this first 2 months of the year is the highest we've had since enactment of Act 416.
Does that include hybrids? Do they pay increased? Okay, thank you.
It does. Hybrids is 50. Just to run them down real quick, electric is 200. The hybrids is 50, and the plug-in hybrid is 100.
Patrick, question.
Yes, sir.
On the graph here, you have a 5-year trend through August. Other than Amendment 101, it's pretty flat over that 5 years. Would you agree?
Correct.
So, would you say that in the last 5 years, our revenue keeps up with inflation?
No.
Our cost, I know our costs in 5 years for projects at least have risen tremendously. So we don't have, but our revenues not keeping up with that, is it?
No, and I think when we get to the consumption side, you'll see that kind of magnified even more from the motor fuel and diesel side. Good news is through August, DFNA is reporting that the sales and use tax is up by 8%. If that continues, that'll help. But really the only ones that have any significant change or have had in the past is the sales and use tax. As you can see, it's going up. We're missing 2 years because it didn't go into effect until October of 24. But the biggest fluctuations we have is the sales and use tax, Amendment 101, and then the natural gas that y'all have seen that I always put out the caveat of, okay, if it's up, we got to be cautious that it'd go down. So those are the only two that move very much for us. So
we really don't have a revenue stream that allows us to stay even with inflation.
no, sir. And I'll let Jared speak a little more to that.
The half-cent sales tax is designed to help us keep up there, so we're seeing, that track expenditure statewide, which is a good thing, but the other sources of revenue that we have, they're not keeping up with inflation. If it wasn't for the population add that we're seeing across parts of our state, our fuel tax would even be taking a decline because we're seeing more efficient vehicles. I think the latest stats show about a 26 mile to a gallon vehicle. Just a few years ago, it was just over 20. So if it wasn't for the population add, our motor fuel revenue would be decreasing instead of slightly increasing. But it's not keeping up with inflation, not keeping up with the cost of construction for sure.
So I'm going to throw you a softball here. How does that affect us as a department when we're talking about trying to keep up with infrastructure demands, the growth in the state, the demands we have on projects, new projects, pavement preservation? The fact that our revenue streams do not really keep up with inflation and cost increases. How does that affect
Right.
us?
So, I mean, we can't spend money we don't have to spend. So what it means is fewer projects get built. We have to delay projects. At the same time that we see these costs increase, we see right-of-way costs continue to increase. Property is becoming more valuable in our state. And because of that, we do fewer projects each year because that right-of-way cost continues to rise. So we need to start talking about what we need to do to help index some of these things to inflation to set ourselves up for success in the future.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Jared, about a year ago, I asked that question, and I asked what was the rate of road construction over the last 5 years, what percent has it increased? And I got a report back of 60-something%. So, I mean, if in 5 years it went up 60+%, obviously that hasn't done it. And that's like Keith is saying. I can see where, we won't be able to, we're going to slide backwards pretty quick.
Right, and I think we talk about around the department, if we had just simply indexed that gas tax to inflation, like general revenue is indexed to inflation for our state, we could have overlaid our entire system. Was the number 3 times, Jesse, since 1990? So we are losing out on revenue in a big way without that being indexed to inflation. But there is a silver lining. I think this year we've seen our construction costs sort of hold steady. That's a good thing for us because, at the pace that we were clipping along, we weren't going to be able to keep up. But yes, we need to start having that conversation about the future.
And to kind of tie back, the last couple of budgets, if I remember correctly, we were only projecting maybe 2 or 3% increase in revenue. And so, with your 66%, and we're doing 2 or 3%, there's no way to keep up with that. So,
but that increase includes the Amendment 101 fund, Patrick, right? That's
correct.
That's driving our increase.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Any more questions? I'm going to hit on the security reserve real quick. As you can see, in 3 years of the 5, we've received our $20 million by now. We put in our request, and it went through a legislative council, so we've received our $20 million, and that'll be reported the next time, so you'll see a $20 million bar there. So we do have that money available. One thing while we're talking about revenue is we've got 2 more bond payments in our Garvey bond series, which we allocate $20 million a year, 4 cents of our diesel tax we just dedicate to the bond payments. That's just part of it. FHWA has a contract with us that makes up the gap. My point there is that will this time next year will free up $20 million going forward that we won't have for bonds. All of our bonds will be paid off. We'll have that $20 million to use on other things. So that I think to go back to Jared's quote of silver lining, I think that's a silver lining coming forward.
Yeah, and that dates back to our 2011 Interstate Rehabilitation Program. So that program closed out about 5 years ago, so we're about to sunset those bonds.
So moving on to the next category, actual budgeted versus actual revenue. Our big ones here are Amendment 101, getting back to that, $2.6 million above. Like I said, 8% increase as of right now over 24 in August. Some of that, hopefully some of it's low because we had tax-free weekends in there, and so maybe it'll continue to grow. Another one is the other category. It went up $1.8 million, and that the majority of that is because of increased driver search fees. What these fees are is they'll look for insurance record issues, commercial requests for employment, and so obviously with employment kind of going upward, I think we had an article in the paper the other day. We've added 1,000 people to the workforce, so there's a lot of searches going on right now. like I said, we've received our security reserve. We won't actually show it on the graph until next time. But overall, we're over budget by 5.1 or 3.8%. So as of right now, with us being under on the expense side and over on the revenue side, we're looking pretty good for the first 2 months. This is a slide I was talking about that would probably show you a little better of, motor fuel tax and the correlation with, its growth or lack of growth. Both of these, as you can tell, are very flat over 5 years. Approximately 255 million average over the last 5 years for gas, and about 110 million for diesel. Last slide I have is just a pictorial of the consumption, showing the quarterly increases or trends that we have year over year. Is there any other questions?
Just a point of clarification, Patrick, that 1,000 employee ad, that's statewide, correct?
Yes.
All of state government?
Yes.
Yeah. Our number was about 160 here at RDOT, so it's been a good year for us to add some key staff members in some key areas for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick, for your report. And with that, I'll turn the meeting over to Director Jared Wiley. Director Wiley, the meeting is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kevin's going to come up today and talk to us about some federal and state legislative activities. There's been a lot of discussion, as you guys know, in Washington, and Kevin's going to brief us on that.
Thank you, Director Wiley. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I would like to begin today with an update of our recent activity at the state level. On September 24th, the Arkansas Legislative Council, with their subcommittee, the Highway Commission Review and Advisory Subcommittee, they met on that day. Director Wiley appeared before the subcommittee. Since this was the first meeting since December, there were several reports to submit. In fact, there were a total of 18 reports to submit. This included 9 monthly efficiency review reports, 3 quarterly land conveyance reports, 3 quarterly Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act obligation reports, and 3 quarterly progress reports on construction projects of $10 million or more. I am pleased to report that all of these were accepted by the subcommittee. I would also like to note that we appreciate Commissioner Holder and Commissioner Halsey for being at that meeting with us. Now I'd like to turn your attention to the federal level. On September the 18th, the U.S. Senate confirmed Sean McMaster as Administrator of the Federal Highway Administration. Administrator McMaster is a former executive with the Boeing Aerospace Company and also a former Vice President with HNTB. It was during his time with HNTB that we were able to work with him on several of our applications for discretionary grants from the IIJA. During his confirmation hearing, he stressed that safety would be his top priority at FHWA. He previously worked as the Deputy Chief of Staff at the U.S. Department of Transportation and has lately been serving as a senior advisor to Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. In a very recent meeting that we attended with him, he stated that FHWA must look forward as the current surface transportation funding authorization, which is the IIJA, is set to expire at the end of September 2026. We're looking forward to being able to continue to work with him as he now leads the Federal Highway Administration. The U.S. Department of Transportation, or USDOT, issued a new interim final rule that will change how we administrate the use of disadvantaged business enterprises, or DBEs, on our construction projects. These changes are due to a court ruling and legal determination that the DBE program's use of race and sex-based presumptions violates the U.S. Constitution's equal protection guarantees under the Fifth Amendment. I'd like to give you a little background on the DBE program. It was designed to ensure participation by small business owners by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Previously, by law, women and certain racial and ethnic groups were presumed disadvantaged. A court ruling in September 2024 found that these presumptions are likely unconstitutional. The Department of Justice and USDOT now agree with this ruling and will not continue the use of race and sex-based presumptions. The new rule, which was effective October 3rd, states the following: no contracts can be let that contain DBE goals. For existing contracts that contain DBE goals, the DBE goal is no longer valid and cannot be enforced. We are also required to complete a recertification and decertification process for all of our current DBEs that are based on new certification standards. We will, of course, begin the new recertification and decertification process after we receive further guidance from the USDOT. Now, since the new rule was issued less than a week ago, we are currently in the process of reviewing and assessing all the changes that it will require us to implement. Now I'd like to update you regarding our federal funding from the IIJA. We are now in federal fiscal year 2026. As a reminder, the federal funds provided to us in 2025 were made available through a continuing resolution, or CR, that covered the entire year. Typically, when Congress and the President are not able to reach an agreement for a full year's appropriations bill, they are able to reach an agreement on a CR. However, as we enter 2026, they have not yet been able to agree on a CR. Therefore, the federal government shut down on October 1st. Because we do not have an appropriations bill or a CR, we do not have access to our 2026 IIJA funds. Additionally, we will not have access to the 2026 IIJA funds until Congress and the President can agree on a CR or a full year's appropriations bill. Now, because our projects that are currently under construction and under development use IIJA funds from previous years, we will be able to continue to receive federal reimbursements for those projects. Since we will continue to receive those federal reimbursements, we will continue operating as usual, and none of our employees will have to be furloughed. There is another impact of the shutdown. We have not yet received the earmarks that we discussed at your last meeting. Congress will have to pass a full year's appropriation bill and include the earmarks in that bill before they will be available to us. It's interesting to note that this is the 21st shutdown in the past 50 years. The last shutdown was during President Trump's first presidency, and it lasted 35 days, which is the longest shutdown in the nation's history. We are hopeful that members of Congress and the President will be able to resolve their differences soon. And just like every other DOT in the nation, we will be watching for future developments of these funding issues. Director Wiley, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Kev? Yes, sir.
Kevin, just out of curious, on the DBE, I know that, okay, the rules have changed. We'll be doing it. But does that potentially mean that any contracts that are out will be, in other words, you may have to go to it. Will you go to them and say, as of today, that's it? And if that contract is still ongoing, how will we unwind that contract? I mean, probably may not have the answers yet, but what do you think?
Well, I think you answered your own question. There are many things that we're not sure about yet with the DBE program. They have been very clear. USDOT has been clear about certain aspects of this ruling. and that is that we're not to put any more DBE goals on any
Anymore.
future contracts, and the contracts that have already been let that do have DBE goals, that those DBE goals no longer apply. So there are subcontracts with DBE suppliers. We have some DBE firms are prime contractors for us. Those contracts that are already let and already working will continue just
Okay.
as if nothing's changed with that. So we'll receive additional guidance from USDOT on how we're going to transition into this under the new rule, I guess is a good way to say it.
Well,
But-
the reason I asked that, there's been some programs under the administration that when they said we're cutting funding, you know, you're getting on the horse or you're on the horse and now don't have a horse
I see your point. Yes, sir.
immediately. So
This
that's
is-
what I was wondering.
Right, yeah, this is not reducing funding or changing funding any at all. What it is doing is that it's taking the race and sex presumptions of disadvantaged out of the evaluation of a contractor to be declared as a DBE firm. That's the change. And so based on previous law, based on previous guidance and everything else, there were protections, there were set-aside amounts, and so forth for DBE firms. That has now changed, and so we will be transitioning into that and moving into that. But as far as the actual funding, as far as the actual contracts, it will not change any funding associated with those.
So you're thinking that you're changing the certifications going forward, you're changing the recertifications of the subcontractors within the contracts that are already let.
Well, the contracts that are already let have those contractors as subcontractors or as a prime.
Right.
It will not change that.
Okay.
They remain under contract. They remain, the funding remains encumbered. It's all set aside. That work continues on. From this point forward, what we'll have to get more guidance on is how to know when a firm is a DBE based on the new certification requirements.
Okay. So when you say recertification, maybe that is in terms of projects we're planning now.
Yes.
And then certification will be in terms of projects that we don't have on anywhere on the books yet. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and as far as I understand it, the big change that we'll see this week, next week, is that our contractors who are out there actively building projects, they won't have to submit DBE accomplishments like they're doing now. So they submit those every week or two. So that will change. They won't be submitting those. But like Kevin said, they already have subcontracts in place with all their subcontractors. We don't see a big change there. All right, thank you, Kevin. Next, I'll ask Crystal Woods, our Assistant Chief of Administration, to come up and give our efficiency review recommendation implementation report. And I think we're getting close, Crystal, on this one to wrapping everything up.
Yes, we are. I am happy to report more progress today. As you know, it's your last two meetings. We've held steady about 90% completion rate with 8 of the 13 recommendations completed. And so we have good news today for you. So recommendation number 3 called for publishing the status of construction projects and maintenance activities. We're about 80% complete on the maintenance activities portion of that recommendation. We have a draft dashboard that has been developed. We're in the final stages of editing that dashboard, making some checks, make sure everything's working properly, and then we'll be sharing it with leadership for their comments and feedback. And the dashboard for the construction projects is ready to launch. As soon as my presentation is over, Kelly Wiley is going to show you some of what you can find on that dashboard.
I'm going to interject here real quick. So this maintenance reporting dashboard is going to be really interesting for the public because they can go out there and see where we're doing our work, why we're doing it, and how long it's expected to last. So it's going to be really informative for them as we constantly seek to improve our communication with them.
Recommendation number 5 directed us to implement efficiencies in our procurement and purchasing. On the procurement of equipment and materials, I'll just remind you that we updated our purchasing and disposal procedures. We implemented some new contracts, a modern cloud-based auditing process, and online bidding. On the procurement of construction projects, we implemented a project delivery selection tool and criteria for using incentive or disincentive bidding methods. The only remaining task in this recommendation is to finalize our change order study, and that's about 80% complete. So we expect that to be completed hopefully by your next commission meeting. I'm looking at Chad. Recommendation number 6 directed us to implement construction contractor performance measurement. I'm happy to report this recommendation is now complete. As you know, we established a contractor performance evaluation committee, identified metrics defining quality and performance of our primes, developed a standard evaluation form, a process for compiling those forms, a review and appeal process, and guidance on when those evaluations will be used. These documents were recently sent to our industry partners, and their comments have been addressed. The process is now complete, and we plan to start using it in next month's bid letting. Number 7 is similar to number 3. It focused on implementing portfolio management and frameworks. For construction projects, we enhanced our existing software for pre-construction project development tracking, and we're using our AshToware project software to provide the additional reporting tools on construction projects that you'll be seeing in a few minutes. For maintenance projects, we're implementing the new maintenance management system, and that also enhances the publication of our maintenance activities, which again is about 80% complete. So when recommendation number 3 is complete, recommendation number 7 will also be complete. Number 8 focused on implementing best practices in construction project design. I'm happy to report this is also now complete. For a recap of what we accomplished under this recommendation, we established formal procedures for practical design, value engineering, and a comparison of estimates against final costs. We developed an analysis to identify benefits, cost savings, and return on investment, and identified changes to the design approach for projects that were likely to have change orders exceeding the estimated completion dates. The Constructability Review Procedures Manual was recently submitted to our industry partners for review and is now considered complete. Again, we'd like to express our appreciation to those industry partners for their input, specifically the Arkansas Asphalt Pavement Association, the Arkansas Concrete Pavement Association, and AGC Arkansas. So to look at our overall progress, we now have 10 of the 13 recommendations are fully implemented, 85 of the 90 individual actions are complete, and that's a 94% completion rate overall, which is a 4% increase since your last meeting. Any questions?
Crystal, what started out as us getting a bowl of lemons, we've turned it into lemonade, don't you think?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I look at this and I think, I don't know how many of these things we would have accomplished in the last few years if we hadn't had this recommendation from the Legislative Council. Do you think that's been a positive thing?
Oh, absolutely. The transparency that we've accomplished under this efficiency study has been a very good thing for us and for the public.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Crystal. Now I'd like to ask Kelly Wiley, our Assistant Chief Engineer for Program Delivery, to come run us through that dashboard that Crystal talked about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Wiley. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As Crystal just reported, the construction project portion of recommendation number 3 is ready to publish. But before we do that, I wanted to walk you guys through the basics of this very powerful reporting tool that RDOT developed along with the help of our industry partner, Garber. As a reminder, the recommendation stated that RDOT should leverage existing platforms and tools to enhance reporting of readily available project data. So when you open our dashboard, prominently displayed in the middle of the dashboard is an interactive map. So as Crystal mentioned earlier, that AASHTO-ware project software that construction utilizes, this dashboard is tied directly into that database. Also, GIS and mapping staff throughout the department create, maintain, and update geographically referenced data on a daily basis. So the project location information shown is utilizing our existing data. So as you can see from the legend, or if you look at the map, you see a lot of orange and blue. Our legend in the bottom right tells you that that orange, it means an active construction project is currently ongoing. The green features indicate pending, and what that means is it's been awarded for contract, but the work order just hasn't been issued to the contractor yet. Several of these projects were awarded in September, and once we get that work order, they'll change from green over to that orange. And our blue features indicate projects that have been completed or substantially complete within the last 365 days. On the left side of the map, you see several search filters. We've made this pretty interesting way to be able to find a project the way it makes sense to the user. So, for instance, you can look at a county that you live in, a highway that you travel on, or even a year that the project was awarded to contract. And if a user knows which RDOT district they want to focus on, the inset map at the top will focus the big map into that district specifically. So here, I've selected RDOT District 6 from the filters, and as you can see, that project map has zoomed in to the District 6 boundary, which is shown in that purple boundary. A way to view over the project information is to hover your cursor over a project on the map and find the name. Here, I want to look for Job CA 604, that's located on Highway 67-167 in Pulaski County. I find that project on the map. When I hover over it, a text box appears showing the project number and the name. So once I have verified that I'm looking at the correct project, I can select it. And then a summary of the construction progress shows up on the right-hand side of the screen. It'll show information, the current contract amount, when a project is expected to be completed, or whether it is ahead, on time, or behind schedule. If I want to drill down just a little bit further and get more information, there's a button that takes me to the project details page. So as you can see, the project details page provides much more in-depth information. It'll include the prime contractor, the purpose of the project, milestone dates, and cost data. One other feature that we have added to most of the boxes on the dashboard is an information button. That helps users understand what's being displayed and what they're looking at. So, for example, hovering over the icon within the construction item completion box reveals an explanation showing that progress towards completion of various material categories is shown, such as earthwork, paving, or structures. So back to the main page, we've taken a look at the project map, we've drilled down into project details. Let's move on to this metrics tab. So the metrics tab provides an overview of project status across the department. At the time that I created this update, there were 131 highway projects totaling approximately $2.4 billion under construction statewide. Actually, it was 2.36. The dashboard is updated daily to ensure that the information remains current and accurate. So if a project goes substantially complete today, if you look at it tomorrow, the information will be reflected that one has been completed and it's gone, or one less is active and it's moved to the completed. Similar to the map legend, these projects can be viewed by either active, pending, or complete, or cumulatively by selecting all three. So here I've switched over to the completed projects, and those metrics have now changed to show only projects completed within the last 365 days. Another really great function of this dashboard is that you can view specific project types under construction. such as a new location project, widening, or a bridge rehabilitation. So on this slide, I have selected resurfacing projects, and the information displayed changes to show only the metrics associated with active resurfacing projects. For instance, at the time that I created this update, there were 36 projects for a total of $240 million under construction, and of those, 28 were awarded this year. I did look this morning, and that has changed since yesterday, so it's actively updating as projects become substantially complete. And then one step further, if I want to drill down and see where those resurfacing projects are located, I can select View on Map, and it takes me back to the project map, and it shows only those resurfacing projects and where they're located. Additionally, we've linked an Ask RDOT button to the bottom of every page, so if a user has more specific questions about a project or wants more information, they can link directly to Ask RDOT. And in the bottom right of every page, we also have a link to a user manual. So if somebody wants to click on the user manual, it'll go through and show exactly what's displayed, how you can click through the dashboard and find the information that you're looking for. So how do we find our project dashboard? Oops. I hope it works. I'm counting on technology. Which is a mistake. So on the home page, let's see if you can do it, Jared. There we go. So if you scroll past Director Wiley's welcome here on the home page, you'll get to a series of icons which link to useful information. There is an icon for the project dashboard, which will take you to the page, and then you can see the dashboard there. Another way to access it is to type the web address directly into your web browser's address bar, and that's going to be rdot.gov/project dashboard. And so that concludes my report, Director.
Kelly, where did you say that where did you say that we go to find that? And we're not sitting in this meeting and you're
Sure. So there is a link directly on our home page. So
Okay.
if you scroll down past
I got
the
you.
welcome message, we have some links for helpful information. There's a project dashboard link right here. And you can go to that link, click on it, and it takes you directly to the dashboard.
And
So
that's
just-
live now.
It's live right now.
So just so I'm clear, this isn't something just for the public. You all use this every day, everybody in the department. If you want to know something about one of these projects,
Yes, sir.
you go to this and it's a user, you all use it every day?
Yes, sir. This dashboard contains a lot of powerful information that we always have had access to, but now it's located in one central spot that's easy to read, easy to understand, for not only RDOT, but for the general public. Or
So
somebody
rather
looking for
than
information.
picking up the phone and calling Jessie and asking her a question, that you can just go right here and get your answer and not have to.
Well, I'm sure that Jessie still wants you to call her and speak to her, but yes, sir. This is a quick way for anybody that wants to look at a construction project. The status of a construction project can go to this dashboard. And like Jared said, we're going to link the maintenance activities will be the next module that's added. So it will be a similar dashboard to construction, so you can go in and look at statewide maintenance activities as well.
That's
So what
amazing.
we learned is Jesse's going to be a lot more productive.
That's right. So, do the MPOs use this?
They can.
Do we have any thoughts about educating them on this and them utilize? It just seems like this would be a great tool for them too.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just pulling that out of there.
So Kelly's staff is charged with coordinating with our MPOs, so we'll be working with them and making sure they know it's out there. But there's a wealth of information out there. When we roll those maintenance projects into it, they'll be able to see where those chip seals are going on, where we're doing bridge repair. And then one day, we'll fold in our pre-construction projects, so as projects are being developed, they'll be out there as well.
That's right.
Kelly, I missed this in your presentation. What's the definition of a pending project?
So pending projects are projects that have been awarded to a contractor, but that construction work order has not been issued. So there is some time between award where we go back and forth, execute the contract, make sure all of our paperwork's in order, and then that work order can be issued, and that's when the contractor.
So the first time a project will appear on this is after the bid letting.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
And if you look on the dashboard, those projects from September are shown as pending.
Got it.
on
Thank
there.
you.
Yes, sir.
Kelly, as the chairman said earlier about lemons and lemonade, this is, complying versus embracing, and this is absolutely embracing. I'm a nerd, but this is like the Grand Canyon or the Mona Lisa, like bring a tear to my eye. I mean, it's a beautiful thing and will absolutely, I think, change our public information and our efficiencies just across the whole department. I'm super excited about this. Thanks to your whole team, you and Jesse, for putting this together. It's just amazing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Kelly. All right, now Jesse's going to come up and give us an update of our September bid letting.
We can just look that up on.
Yeah, we can look it up, yeah. Look for the green dots, right? Yeah.
Well, that's right. And of course, you guys can still call me. I still will look up the information. So thank you, Director, and good morning, Mr. Chairman and the Commissioners. Since our last meeting, we had a successful bid letting in September. Okay, in our September letting, we let 8 projects, 6 highway projects, and 2 county projects for a total of $31.8 million. We received 28 bids by 22 different contractors. The first project I would like to talk to you about is to improve traffic operations at the Interstate 540 and Highway 255 Zero Street interchange in Fort Smith. In this project, as shown on the map, we will realign 36th Street to create an intersection with southbound off-ramp, and then the southbound on-ramp will be relocated over here off 36th Street. And this project will eliminate one intersection. Originally, there are 2 intersections, one at the ramp, one at the 36th Street. By eliminating one of the intersections, this will improve traffic operations at this interchange. The project was awarded to Forsgren for $3.4 million. The anticipated completion is early 2027. The next project is a partnering project with Clark County to replace one bridge on Highway 67 over Cattle River in Cattle Valley. This project was awarded to Robertson Contractors for $19.2 million. The estimated completion is late 2027. The partnership includes the county contributing funds to construct a shared use path on the west side of the new bridge and along Highway 67. The last project I would like to highlight is also a partnering project with City of Little Rock and Metro Plan to help alleviate traffic congestion at the Highway 70 and University Avenue intersection in Little Rock. This project includes geometric improvements, upgrade traffic signal equipment, and roadway lighting. Also in this project, we'll repave and provide pavement markings in the intersection. The project was awarded to Redstone Construction Group for $2.2 million, and the estimated completion date is late 2026. The partnership includes Metro Plan providing $600,000, and the city also provide the cost to replace signal equipment, and the rest of the project cost will be split equally between ARDA and the city. And next, I would like to tell you about a special letting that's coming up on October 15th. This project is to widen 1.4 miles of Highway 112 from Truckers Drive to Howard Nickel Road in Fayetteville, from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. The City of Fayetteville is partnering with RDOT to provide funding for the construction of a pedestrian tunnel at one of the intersections in the project. Also, this project will include city's utility adjustments. Given the unique complexity of this project, it was moved out of the September letting and the special letting, hold a special letting on October 15th to give contractors additional time to put together their bids. And lastly, our last regular scheduled letting of the year will be held November 5th, where we will kick off our 2026 pavement preservation program. And in this letting, we will have 29 highway projects totaling approximately $170 million. 21 of the 29 projects are pavement preservation projects. Director Wiley, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Jesse. Any questions for Jesse?
Yes, I have a comment more, Jesse, than a question, but I wanted to bring to your attention and Jared's attention, I had a little bit of involvement in that project that you're doing on 540 in Fort Smith, and I wanted to relate to you some feedback from one of the business owners. I won't name his name. He would kill me if I did that, but public. But he has bragged on you guys from the very beginning, the interaction that he's had. He's had some questions and some concerns with how the project affects his business. But he constantly tells me, Jared, that the people he works with here, the people he calls here, are just tremendous to work with, as well as the people in the 4th District, Jason and some others. So I wanted to let you know that interaction that he has with is so much appreciated by the public, the way he's treated, the way they respectfully listen to his concerns and listen to his issues and then work through that. So that was an excellent job with him and others on that project, and I appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. We have great staff here, for sure.
You've done a great job on that project. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Next up, Chad Adams, our Assistant Chief Engineer for Construction, is going to update you on our latest construction activities around the state.
Let's try that again. Rookie mistake. Thank you, Director. Good morning, everyone. We'll start with highlighting our construction projects that we've completed or been working on since the last meeting. We have 230 active projects, and you might notice that's different than the number that Kelly reported to you, which was about 100 difference. Well, that 100 difference is our projects that we have on our county roads and city streets. So you'll still be able to call Jesse for those information on those projects for sure. But those jobs represent a total value of about $2.4 billion. Since our last meeting, we've completed 43 projects for a dollar amount representing about $132 million, and we've paid out $142 million in the last 7 weeks since we last met. So just looking at that projects completed, that's an average of about one job going substantially complete since our last meeting. So per day, one job per day. That last picture was from our I-57 project in Jacksonville. That's from a drone image that we took back in July, late July. And so we'll focus or highlight the jobs along that route. We have one there in Jacksonville and another one just a little further north in Cabot. Combined, those jobs will be responsible for widening the interstate to 6 lanes. It's about 6 miles total. There's about 4.5 miles between the two projects. As part of that, we will also replace 5 bridges and improve the interchanges along that route. Both jobs were awarded to Weaver Bailey contractors. Total job or dollar amount was $262 million combined, and we both expect both jobs to be completed in early to mid 2027. So about a year and a half, roughly. This, so for our Jacksonville job, we'll play a quick drone video of the project. I'll try to hit some of the highlights of where we're at. This is starting on the south end at Main Street where the project begins. I don't know if I can start this. Okay. So as you progress, you can see in the background there a bridge that we're coming up on. That's the James Street Bridge. It has already been replaced with a wider bridge. So that part of the work is completed. And then it will progress from there up to a new bridge that did not exist before at Gregory Street. So that's a canoe overpass for the citizens of Jacksonville to be able to use to get from one side of the interstate to the other. And then as we progress here, we're coming up on Bundaberg, I believe is the way it's pronounced. The southbound bridge has been completed, and the northbound bridge still has to be removed so that it can be replaced as well. Oh, let's try again. Okay, so on the Cabot job, instead of another drone video, just to show you what's going on, I wanted to highlight some kind of a little bit of a advancement, not an advancement, but another feature that they can use the drone videos for, and it's 3D imaging. So the 3D imaging, they set out control points early on. They're very precise control points. They're so accurate that we can use them for good calculations, measurements, quantities, anything that we need. So they take the drone video and they use some software to create a 3D image. This is one, and I'll admit to you in the slideshow, it doesn't image as clearly as it does in the program. So the program that they use for the 3D imaging is very precise, very clear. And I'm going to click the button, and it'll give you a progression of shots that they created from the software. Now inside the software, I wish I could show it to you and demonstrate it, but it's basically you can rotate to different vantage points. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. So I'll progress just real quick through these 4 pictures. Just kind of zooming in a little bit closer. The next one's just rotating to a different point, and then you get right down onto the rebar of the bridge itself, and then in the last image, it's just a very close-up image. Now again, it doesn't image as clearly here, but in that program, it is very good tool that they can use to be able to check things as they were on the day that the video was flown. So it's a historical document that they can use to kind of check things later if needed. So again, I'm happy to report both projects are completed, or not completed, but they're running ahead of time. Both of them are about, as far as percent work complete versus percent time, around 15% ahead of schedule. And that concludes my portion of the report.
Chad?
Yes, sir.
Will this also be on the dashboard?
The imaging?
Yeah.
That's not part of the...
I want to know an update. Will that be there?
No, sir.
Okay. Call Jesse.
Call Jesse.
Appreciate you, Chad. All right, next, Steve Frisbee, our Assistant Chief for Maintenance, is going to give us a maintenance update.
All right, good morning. I'm going to be very brief today because I know you're getting lots of updates, but I would like to just tell you a little bit about highlighting one of our primary maintenance activities that's going on around the state this time of year. So each year, RDOT funds a statewide maintenance preservation program, which provides funding for RDOT district maintenance crews to perform asphalt leveling and chip seals to preserve our highways. So statewide, we're given a $15 million budget. That's $1.5 million per district. And so, for example, last year with that $1.5 million, the districts were able to chip seal over 416 miles of state highways and place over 225,000 tons of asphalt for leveling and patching. So typically this program, it focuses on our secondary highways while overlays, as many are aware, we do these construction contractors, they do overlays of our primary highways. So by having this program, it really let us touch those secondary highways that may not otherwise be funded. So the districts, each year when they get this funding, they determine the routes to be preserved. They recommend the scope of work that's analyzed by our maintenance division to be sure we all agree, our program management finalized, and the work is scheduled for the following year. So I'll show you this year our 2025 sealing and leveling program. It's currently well underway. And as shown on this map, RDOT maintenance crews are preserving 509 miles of state highways through chip seals and minor asphalt leveling. I really want to highlight the cost per mile. So we're able to do this work at $30,000 per mile. That's for both lanes, two-lane highway. For comparison, the average cost to overlay the same two-lane highway is about $400,000 per mile. So sealing is less than 10% of the cost of a construction overlay when we do it with our forces. Of course, some of the benefits of chip sealing, it's obviously just mentioned, significantly less expensive. It's faster than placing an asphalt overlay. It preserves and extends the life of the pavement by sealing those cracks off, keeps the water out. It improves traction or friction for the drivers, particularly in wet weather, so that is improved safety for us. Chip seal work is typically performed between July and September, the drier and hotter summer months of the year, so it is one downside. You can't chip seal very well in February, March, April when you can do these overlays. It's really a dry weather thing. It needs to be good and dry. So again, we're wrapping that sealing season up, and thankful we can do those 500 miles. And I'll just end by saying, as I'm talking about these prices, it's just one more thing that makes me proud of the work that our maintenance forces do. These are guys who are out here day in and they're day out. They're stretching those limited tax dollars that Patrick was talking about for our taxpayers. They're doing quality work. They're doing it in a safe and efficient manner, and it just makes us so proud of what we can do to stretch those dollars with our maintenance crews. With that, I'll answer any questions. Thank you.
Steve, I'd like to make one comment. Y'all do a great job. That maintenance, and that's really, what, 80% of our budget standing right there? Isn't that kind of what it is?
Yes, sir. We allocate 75 to 80% of our total budget to taking care of our system. Yes, sir.
And I don't know when you do the work, but all I know is, and I hear it all the time, I don't know when they overlaid this, but I got up one morning and it was done. So I don't know who does the scheduling and timing, and that means a lot to the people that drive over it every day. And my brother lives on 112, and he said, y'all did a great job on 112, by the way. And that's been 6 or 8 months or a year, maybe. And he said, I don't know when they did it. I never heard anything, and I never saw anything. I just got up and it was done. And kudos for that. You know, that it really helps out. We appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely pass that along. And I guess when we get our maintenance reporting system up, they'll be able to look online and know when we're going to be doing that work. So, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. All right, I'm going to run through quickly for you just a little bit about what's been going on around the department aside from those updates. So on August 22nd, as you guys know, you were all there, and appreciate your support and attendance there. We had a great day, a big day, celebrating Interstate 49, that new river bridge that's under construction now. We're so glad to have Governor Sanders there, former Governor Hutchinson, Congressman Womack, Congressman Westerman there, and so many community members. And we also had a special appearance by our Southside High School Maverick Band. They did a great job out there. But I wanted to give our Vice Chairman a pat on the back, because his leadership and his drive for this project, without that, we wouldn't be here today. So, Keith, I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate that, but with all due respect, it's not me, it's the commission. and the other commissioners who recognize the need for this and are willing to put out the effort and spend the money to get it done. There's a lot to do, and I can't say, to me, this is indicative of what this commission is about. There's no politics here. It's a group of men and women who want to do what's best for the state, and it's not one individual. It's a group. It's the commission and obviously RDOT that pushes, all the staff members who push it. So I appreciate the thought, but I want to give credit where credit's due.
Well, we appreciate that. I mean, we have a great setup. I think this speaks volumes to that, so thank you for that. All right, on August 25th, I was pleased to be in Rogers to talk to the Arkansas Economic Developers and Chamber Executives annual meeting. This group provides support and training to economic developers, chamber professionals statewide as they focus on economic development and community development type work and projects. I discussed RDOT's history, the commission's history, talked to them about how our funding works, and we talked about other major projects around the state. On August 27th, the Mobile Concrete Technology Center came to town. This is a Federal Highway Administration program that's focused on enhancing concrete performance and other technologies. I'm thankful that Rex and Jesse and many others from our team were there to represent RDOT that day. Thankful to Weaver Bailey for hosting us there at their plant in Jacksonville to see those demonstrations. It was a great experience and an excellent tour. On September 11th, I was invited to speak to the Arkansas Trucking Association's Safety Management Council. Chief Holmes and I attended that event. It was a really good dialogue there. It was held at Maverick Transportation in North Little Rock. We've worked with that community for years, and they're great partners in industry. I was able to discuss the overview of the department again there in the commission, highway police, and just how long tenured their service has been to our state and their importance. We talked about the Arkansas Commercial Truck Safety and Education Program that's really made an impact around our state, and other programs that we're championing here at RDOT, like DriveWise, our wrong-way detection system on Interstate 40, our iDrive system with all those cameras. People really enjoy all the cameras that our team's putting out there. Proud of that. We talked to them about our safety campaigns, including Slow Down, Phone Down, and Street Smart. And we're entering year 5 of our Slow Down, Phone Down this year, and I'm excited about where Parker and his team take that for us. On September 12th, we had visitors from the Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Army Corps District from Memphis came, and we signed an agreement for a bridge replacement project in District 1. It's on Highway 131, and this project is being undertaken at the Corps' request so that we can widen a channel and clean out that channel for their irrigation project. We signed an agreement that day, and the Corps is paying for everything for this project. So they're sponsoring it, they're paying for construction, design, and inspection, but we're glad to be a part of helping out the Corps. Later that day, our executive team took a tour of the Little Rock Port. Brian Day and his team invited us over. I'm thankful to Robert Moore for setting that up for us. It was a great visit. Some facts we learned: it's the largest public port in our state, and of course it's a major intermodal transportation hub with rail, water, and road access there. They have a big industrial site there on campus, and it was just great to be there and hear about all the great things they have going. On September 17th, Vice Chairman Gibson was in Fort Smith talking to the Western Arkansas Planning and Development District at their board meeting. That district serves 6 counties: Crawford, Franklin, Logan, Polk, Scott, and Sebastian, and it assists leaders and residents with community and economic development type projects. Vice Chairman Gibson presented to them about what's going on around the department. District 4 Engineer Jason Huey was also in attendance. Vice Chairman, would you like to brief us on your meeting there?
I don't get a chance to get up here very often, so I won't take advantage of it. This is my speech, so y'all see. There we go. Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yes, I was invited to speak at the Western Arkansas Planning and Development District. They asked me to give them an update on the projects that were going on. Well, I can't do that without help. I need help to do that. So obviously I called Jared, and Jared got the help I needed. And I want to recognize, I just want to, this was amazing to me, and that's why I wanted to talk about it today. I've had opportunities to speak at different things, and usually I can do it off the cuff or get a little bit of information. But this one, they wanted 6 counties an update on the projects that were going on, and I really wanted to provide that to them, so I asked for some help. Well, boy, did I get some help. I want you to look at this. This was done by the staff here. I'm going to point out some people that did that. I went through this, and I said, just write me a speech and with the information I need. I got a notebook that I know somebody had to devote some time to. It's got every piece of information you would ever want to know about the speech. Plus, the speech was written for me. I'm not a great speech maker, but man, they made me look good with this speech. I've got directions on how to get to the place, who's putting the meeting on. I've got an agenda of the board meeting. I've got notes. I've got, here's every county of the 6 counties, the projects broken down into what's going on. A 10-year update. I mean, it's amazing. Just this kind of information that chock full of information, all the projects, maps you can pull out. I was amazed. And so I want to recognize, I understand there were a lot of people involved at the staff that proofed and reviewed and all this, but 2 people in particular, Hannah Wright and Caitlin Worley. And I think they're in attendance today. Hannah and Caitlin, would you stand? I was so impressed with the work you did and so appreciative because it made, like I said, made me look good. And I took all the credit. No, I didn't. I actually pointed this out to the crowd, what a great job you guys did. So I want to say thank you and recognize, all of you recognize what a great job they do. And Dave, your department is fantastic. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for that. Appreciate all you guys do over there.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I'm just shocked that that's the first one of those you've gotten.
That's why I'm so surprised.
All right, at your June meeting, I gave you the results. We talked about our statewide rodeo competition. It's a great event we hold each year. Just for a recap, our top 2 winners in each of the 7 categories, they go on to represent our agency at a regional event. This year it was held in Lexington, Kentucky, in September, the week of September 23rd. We did well this year. You can see on the screen behind me, our crew there. They took 3rd place overall out of 13 states. Very proud of them. Those guys, they weren't happy with that, though. They wanted that 1st place trophy, but it was phenomenal seeing them compete. I got to go be there that day of the competition. It just was so meaningful for me. And the trophy is on the table to my left here behind me, so come check that out. It's a Kentucky bourbon barrel lid. It's a custom trophy from Kentucky. Really neat. Also, I wanted to highlight, so we had 2 of our competitors to finish in the top 2 in their event. So Nick Rushing from District 6, he took 2nd place overall in motor grader. If you haven't seen that, it's really phenomenal. They go through a course with PVC stands with tennis balls on it, and they can't stop that motor grader, the motor patrol, and they have to knock those off in the fastest time. So he took 2nd place, did a fantastic job. And then Kyle Jones from District 1, he took 1st place in the single axle dump truck competition. He had a perfect run, and I got to watch that run, and I was glad to be there with his wife and 4 kids. It was just phenomenal to be there and watch that and videotape that. Kyle, you with us today? Great job out there. We're so proud of you guys, man. So Kyle, he took first place overall, and his trophy is on stage as well, that Kentucky-shaped trophy, but we're proud of you, Kyle. Thanks for all you do.
Do you have the video?
I got the video. Yep, I'll show you afterwards. It's long. It's like 5 minutes long. I thought you might, but we'll show you afterwards. It's on the dot episode, right, Parker? We folded it in? Part of it, yeah. In addition to that, I wanted to call your attention to those Tonka toys behind me. Thanks to Marie for getting that worked out with us. So Doyle Webb reached out to Marie, and he's the Public Service Commission chairman presently. But Doyle's mother, Dolores Cornett Webb, worked for us back in the early 50s in the right-of-way division. She was a secretary stenographer in the division. But these were his childhood toys. He played with them, and you can tell he played with them, but they were well kept. He's loaned those to us for the duration of the holidays, so we'll have them out here in the lobby, and we're going to fold those into our holiday decorations. So if you get a chance, come by and check them out. They're really fascinating toys. All right, on September 23rd through 25th, we held our construction conference at Lake DeGray State Park. So we hold events at our park system because they're just right for accommodating our staff, and we love working with our partners over there at Parks. They're so good to us. It's a great partnership. So this is the first of these conferences, correct, Chad? The first time we've done a construction conference like this. And I was blessed to be able to go and talk to the group. One of the days did a question and answer session there about my goals for the department. I love to hear those questions from our staff and interact with them. We had over 125 attendees there that week, and it was just a great event. And Chad, I appreciate you putting that on and casting that vision for our team. Likewise, the next week we held our maintenance conference there, maintenance equipment conference at DeGray. This is our fourth time we've done that. Steve and his team organized this. It was another great event. We had folks from all 75 counties. Over 200 RDOT staff members were there at that meeting. Our focus this time was on safety and innovation. I was able to present to them about what you guys and what we're doing to help improve safety for them as they're out there on a day-to-day basis working hard to keep our roads maintained well. It was a good time. They had a tradition, I guess, from the first year where they have a barbecue competition after the workday ends on the first day. And some of our executive team, they found their specialty, they're judging barbecue for us. And it was a great event. First place was taken by District 2, Tony Hurley. He's on the bottom left on the screen there. District 3 took second place, and District 7 took third place. So you can see South Arkansas is winning on a barbecue contest. David, I'm glad to see that. Yeah, absolutely. So it's good, but it's a good event, and appreciate, Steve, you putting that on. On October 2nd, we were invited to come speak to the Joint Transportation Committee in Jacksonville, there at the Air Force Base. We so value the relationship we have with that committee. They've been great to work with. They helped us get a lot done during the session, and we appreciate that. It was my privilege to talk to them that day about Interstate 57, the history behind it, and where we're going in the future. After the event, some of us took a tour out to the work site, to the Weaver Bailey work sites that Chad mentioned earlier, and we got to see construction firsthand. And those legislators and some of our partners got to experience what it's like to be in a work zone with traffic whizzing by you right next to that barrier wall. So it was a really good, eye-opening experience for a lot of people that day. And we appreciate, again, Weaver Bailey for sponsoring that tour, and we appreciate it being set up. Chief Holmes was also there. Chief, you here with us? Yeah, Chief was there, and he spoke about our work zone safety cameras and just the impacts they're making in our work zones. Appreciate you being there, Chief. Just a quick stat I wanted to throw out. Since we've implemented those cameras, the data shows we've seen about a 26% reduction in crashes in work zones, in our interstate work zones overall, and 30% commercial motor vehicle reduction in crashes. So they're making a difference, and we appreciate the legislature allowing us to do that. On Friday, I'm going to meet with Brad and AGC partners in Northwest Arkansas. Chief and I are going to go showcase those cameras to some partners in Oklahoma too. So these cameras, this system we have is really the envy of a lot of DOTs that we work with. We're on the cutting edge out there, and we're proud of that. We want to keep that moving forward. All right, lastly, I wanted to update you on our fallen worker memorial. I hope you had a chance to see that this morning when you came in. We've talked about it for a while. All the partnerships, collaboration, it took a village to get us to this point. Total cost, and I don't want to spoil too many surprises from tomorrow's event, but total cost of this memorial, all said and done, over $350,000 raised in cash, labor, and material donations. So proud of everybody's work on this. Current, former, retired RDOT employees, current, former commissioners, our industry partners, community leaders, all helped make this happen. But we couldn't have done it without Joe Quinn and Good Roads over there. We appreciate you guys helping us get this done. It's going to be a meaningful and lasting impact for all of our RDOT workers. So thank you very much for that. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we'll be out there celebrating the completion. I hope you get a chance today to just take a stroll out there. I think you'll be impressed with what you see. And I also want to say a special word of thanks to Chad. I may not mention him tomorrow, but Chad, thank you so much for all the work you did to get us to this point. I can't thank everyone. It took a lot of people, but Chad was overseeing that construction from the get-go, so thank you. All right, with that, I want to ask Danny Keene to come up and talk about his division, the Equipment and Procurement Division. And a couple of facts about Danny. Danny is also our rodeo leader, so he's the guy that helps with the rodeo, sort of the coach out there, and I really got to witness that firsthand. I appreciate that. And I hear it's his birthday today, too, so thank you, Danny, for being with us on your birthday.
Okay, thank you, Director. Appreciate that. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This morning, I'd like to introduce you to the Equipment and Procurement Division. We're located down Baseline Road off of Sibley Hole. We're across from the Materials Division. If you look on the right of the screen, there's something there that might be recognizable to you, or a landmark that if you get to looking for us. That's actually a 1941 model pull-type road grader. It's not in use, but we might ask the director to come down and give it a try. I think he likes old relics and would like to, might want to get on that. But that's kind of an interesting display for us down at Equipment Procurement. Our main purpose is twofold. We provide effective and efficient fleet management and oversee the purchasing of goods and services to support all the department's operations. We have a total of 45 authorized positions, and I'm assisted by an Assistant Division Head, Corey Key, and Equipment and Procurement Officer, Mark Holloman, and I want to thank both of them for being in attendance today. We have 4 main sections, which is kind of how I'll move through the presentation. We have an equipment section, a central shops, administrative section, and a purchasing section. Starting with our equipment section, it's made up of 12 employees that manage the department's vehicle and equipment fleet, determine equipment needs, develop and monitor compliance with preventive maintenance procedures, and ensure efficient performance through effective fleet and equipment management. We have almost right at 6,400 pieces of major road equipment. Examples of major road equipment would be pickup trucks, dump trucks, loaders, motor graders, asphalt finishers, tractors, just a wide variety for a fleet of a DOT. And then in addition to that, we have more than 6,300 pieces of minor equipment. That's some examples would be material spreaders, weed eaters, chainsaws, small hand tools, just all the things that go in to help and assist with the upkeep of our system. The present value of our fleet is approximately $350 million. In fiscal year 2025, our equipment capital outlay expenditures were a little over $28 million. The upkeep and repair on this fleet will be $4 million, and then the associated fuel usage for that fleet was $14 million. So you can see it's a huge investment in our agency. If we were to replace that fleet tomorrow, it would cost us approximately $600 million. With that said, our fiscal year 2026 equipment capital outlay budget is at $29 million. With regards to the life cycle of our equipment, it varies basically from unit to unit, but all units are considered for replacement once they reach established thresholds for age and or usage. Passenger vehicles are typically passed down until they've eclipsed their age and usage thresholds. We are a passed down agency. We try to lead all the life that we can out of our units and be good stewards of the money that we're given. Our equipment that's collected during our auction season, which is on us, and I'll share about that briefly in just a little bit. We do have the ability to swap that out. So if a district sees something that's turned in for auction that's maybe a little better than what they've got, then we allow them to swap that out and take that piece. The average age of our fleet presently is approximately 11 years old. With the split of on-road and off-road, our on-road fleet average age is about 9 years old, whereas our off-road, our larger heavy road machinery equipment, is about 13 years old. Some examples for some specifics of that age: our pickup truck fleets averages about 8 years. Dump trucks are at 16 years old. Loaders, they last almost 14 years. Motor patrols, which we have fewer and fewer of those as we get more and more beyond the lifetime of back in the days when we had gravel roads. So we don't have as many motor patrols, but they are quite old. But the average age is 22 years old. Our tractor fleet's about 16 years old, and our asphalt finishers are a little better shape. They're at 9 years old. In order to keep our fleet in the best shape it can be, we have an extensive preventive maintenance program that includes care, servicing, inspection of equipment to ensure it's safe for use. And by doing these things, you're catching minor problems before they become major repairs, which can be quite expensive. This group is also responsible for the coordination of our PM program, which is our preventive maintenance program. They hold meetings with operators and supervisors to continually upgrade and improve the program. And they also are responsible for the training and inspecting of our vehicles and equipment. We presently statewide have, and this is a fluid thing, but right now, presently, approximately 138 employees that are responsible for keeping our fleet in working order. And those are equipment maintenance supervisors, shop supervisors, but then even more importantly, our mechanics and our welders. So 138 folks out there that are working hard every day to keep our fleet in good working order. And then last, on the equipment section, you've heard us all talk about our winter strike team, and this is the team that responds when inclement weather hits. The equipment procurement division is responsible for management and upkeep of a fleet of 12 dump trucks that are outfitted with plows and spreaders. We've got to have them ready for when Steve and Derek and the maintenance division ask us to deploy them. And then lastly, before I move to the next section, I wanted to just briefly mention for our fleet another management program we have, which is our GPS program, which is presently now, we've just moved to Geotab, and we use that program to track all of our vehicles and also for engine diagnostics. And we presently have installed over 3,200 GPS units from Geotab. The next section I'd like to highlight is what we call our central shops. Basically 4 different areas down there, and with the goal of maintaining our vehicles and equipment. The first being our storeroom, which stores and distributes all of our stock items for statewide use, like our automotive parts and supplies. We even stock concrete for bridge ops and survey stakes for surveys, and all the way from first aid kits to safety apparel. The next 2 areas, which are on the screen kind of lumped together, is our shop / repair facility, as well as our paint and body shop. They jointly together, they handle accident and upkeep repairs, recalls, preventive maintenance inspections, installing GPS, safety lights, and just any other necessary equipment to keep our vehicles safe and functional. And then lastly, we have a service station, which serves also as a wash facility. They perform oil and filter changes, tire replacements and repairs, refill fluids, and wash and clean all of our equipment. And then they also balance and keep records of all of our daily fuel and lubricant usage. Next, moving to our administrative section. It's a total of 7 employees. Kind of as it sounds, they handle all the administrative tasks that go into keeping our division and the department moving forward with our fleet and purchasing. But in a nutshell, they manage all department vehicle and equipment records. They assign tag numbers, inventory numbers, and license plates to all major and minor tag units. They register and title all vehicles through the Department of Finance and Administration. And then they support our purchasing section through stocking and distributing supply contract items, as well as processing all payments, all invoices through payment. Last but not least would be our purchasing section. They're small, but they have a quite diverse amount of work to do, and it's all day, every day. It never ends. But they have a total of 5 employees, and just an overview for them is they initiate, advertise, negotiate, and execute all contracts for purchasing equipment, commodities, goods, and any other services, non-engineering services for the department. They work with our administrative section to dispose of surplus and obsolete supplies and equipment. And then we have to ensure that all of our work is done in accordance with Arkansas procurement law and, of course, the department policies. In addition, they manage our purchasing cards. We do a lot of purchasing now through purchasing cards, which, as most of all of us do, that's just kind of where the world has gotten to, whereas a lot of our vendors simply just will not accept an old school purchase order. And they also manage our WEX fuel cards throughout the department. Overall, just from an oversight standpoint, this section and our division, and those of us that try to keep it going, we provide oversight for over somewhere between $140 and $150 million worth of spending annually. So a lot flows through there. And then before I close, wanted to highlight something I referenced earlier would be our equipment auction. When our equipment's ready to go to auction, we predominantly utilize the services of an on-site auction company. Our district and division road equipment's turned in for auction once they've the replacement unit for those units have been placed into service. And then our minor equipment's turned in typically at the end of its useful life. In addition, just prior to auction, we don't do a lot of this, but it is available, and some of you have seen some of the fruits of this labor, but we are authorized to sell surplus vehicles and equipment to state, county, and municipal agencies and other tax-supported entities if they formally request it, and then subsequently if it's approved by our director. These entities, they are able to get a good price on equipment vehicles prior to the public being able to purchase. So it's helped a lot of small city and counties, in some cases some local law enforcement agencies, to get some nice seasoned one owner units that are a little cheaper for them than to go buy new. But just some statistics for our auction proceeds. Since 2020, we've averaged a little over $1.8 million worth of major road equipment, and that would be net proceeds annually. A little over $64,000 for just minor miscellaneous lots of equipment. It could be anything from a water pump to an old used herbicide tank. We sell it all on the day of that auction. For all of that together, we've averaged over the last 5 annual years or 5 years, we've annually averaged over $1.9 million worth of net proceeds. And those proceeds were so graciously, we get those, and Patrick, and with the direction of our director, we're able to put that back into our equipment capital outlay budget. And that's continue to update our fleet so that we can continue to do our job safely and effectively. On that end, our annual auction will be next month, and it's always in the fall, usually end of October, 1st of November. It'll be November 5th in Lone Oak. It's at the Blackman Auctions live location, and there'll be more information to come on that, but you can find it on our website. Director, that concludes my report, and I will take any questions.
Danny, I just appreciate you so much. I mean, what you do is vital. It keeps our people safe by having safe equipment, and allows our work to be done, and it's also public facing. I get so many comments when people see our trucks and they're well maintained and there's no dents and they're clean. They know that they can see how much pride we take in our jobs, and that's so important. And then with me being in an urban area, we have a lot of closed-in roadways, and they get so excited when we buy a sweeper and are able to buy some of that equipment to keep those roads clean and safe, and it just means the world to us. So thanks for all you're doing. We appreciate all your efficiencies and every way you find to keep us going. We appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you so
Thank you.
much. Appreciate that. Very kind words.
Appreciate you, Danny.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll walk through our upcoming events. We've got quite a few things on the docket tomorrow. As I mentioned before, we'll be celebrating and dedicating our Fallen Worker Memorial at 1 o'clock p.m. Hope to see everybody there. Expect it to be a big day with a big turnout. I mentioned this already. Friday, we'll be working with Oklahoma DOT and AGC to show them our speed enforcement cameras in Fayetteville. On October 16th, we have the chairman and I have the Good Roads Executive Board meeting here in Little Rock. October 24th, Kelly's going to present to Leadership Arkansas Class 20. Chairman Taldo, Commissioner Holder, and Commissioner Haker scheduled to be there with her that day. On October 24th, there will be an event for the King's Crossing, the new Interstate 55 bridge in Memphis. We had one scheduled. It was canceled, so this is the makeup date. I'll be there October 24th. October 27th, we have our Arkansas Transportation Summit in Jonesboro. It's a 3-day event. Commissioner Halsey and I will be there on the 27th. Commissioner Halsey is going to welcome everyone to Jonesboro, and we'll be holding it on at the embassy there at the convention center. Looking forward to being back in town. That event is going to be the first time we've done it this way. It's going to combine our planning conference, our research conference, and our planning conference into one 3-day event. It's going to be, the agenda is packed full of great topics, and we're expecting quite a turnout. I think we had to close registration because we had so many participants. So it's going to be a big week for us.
They probably will never leave.
That's what you're hoping for, right? October 29th, Commissioner Halsey and I will be in Pocahontas to talk to their Rotary Club about what's going on in the area. There's a new bypass coming in Pocahontas, Interstate 57 work, so we'll be there updating them on that. October 31st, we have our State Highway Employee Retirement System Board meeting. That's a quarterly meeting. It'll be held October 31st. I'll be attending that. On November 4th, I have a Professional Engineers Board meeting. November 6th, hopefully we get good bids in October. We'll be breaking ground on the first phase of 112 in Northwest Arkansas. It's going to be quite a milestone that kicks off the work that stretches, 30 miles? All the way from Fayetteville to Bentonville. 20 miles. All right. Long stretch. Yeah. So it's going to be a big day there, and we're looking forward to that. That same day, Commissioner Halsey and Jesse will be in Northeast Arkansas talking to their Leadership and Economic Development Forum. So we'll split up that day and do both those events. Veterans Day holiday, November 11th. November 12th, we have the Good Roads Annual Meeting, the Commission, and I will attend that. November 13th, I speak at the Arkansas Trucking Association's Safety Summit. We're going to dig into in more detail some safety initiatives that we're working on and some dialogue with that community. It's going to be a good meeting. November 17th through 20th is our AASHTO, our American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, annual meeting in Salt Lake City, Utah. We'll be there working with our partners around the country to see what's going on with transportation and try to shape the future, talking about that next federal transportation legislation, hoping to help shape that with more revenue for the states. November 20th, the Frontier Metropolitan Planning Organization is holding a joint technical committee and policy board meeting. Vice Chairman Gibson is going to be speaking there. We'll get you another notebook there for that. We can do that for sure. November 21st, Chairman Taldo will be in Gravett at the Kiwanis Club meeting to update them on what's going on there. You want a notebook like that too? We'll get you a notebook. That'll be a good meeting. We've had a lot of work in that area, some studies about upcoming improvements, so they'll be glad to hear from you that day. Thanksgiving holiday, 27th and 28th, and then back here on December 3rd for the next commission meeting. I just have a couple of topics in other business I wanted to mention, and this sort of keeps with the theme of what's coming up next. So it's about to be service award time. This is a time we always look forward to, where we're able to get around the state, celebrate successes, cast a vision, say thank you to all of our employees for their dedicated service. So that schedule's on your screen. We'll get that to you, though, so you can make the ones you're able to make. One notable change this year, we won't have the central office service awards like we had in the past. We're going to have consolidated meetings with each group. So we'll have an administration meeting with administration, audit, and our executive divisions. We'll have a pre-construction group and an operations group, so that we can cast that same vision that we cast at the districts to all of our staff and share a meal together. It'll be a great day for that. So we'll get you those dates. Lastly, my last update is regarding the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program. We've talked about that a lot here. And if you recall, this program was suspended in February with new guidance that was issued to us in August. And simply put, it required us to update our plan, make a few modifications to ensure we were in compliance with that new guidance. Our staff, as always, did a fantastic job of handling that. They got that turned in early, and that plan was approved on September 15th. So proud of them for getting that done. What that means is that those projects that we awarded funding to before, we're going to be working with those sponsors to see if they want to continue on. We have heard that a few of them have built their site already. They didn't want to wait for the funding, so we'll work with them, and then we'll reopen our application cycle so we can utilize that $54 million that Arkansas has been allocated. So those are the next steps in case you get questions about those. With that, I'll close my report and kick it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any other business to come before the commission at this time? Is there any other business to come before the commission at this time? Any commissioners have anything to say? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.